Welcome back. So there's a couple things I want to say at the start. First off, I can always tell when I've put on a Reebok Authentic because the stitching is better and it's a heavier jersey and it just I like the feel of the Reebok Authentics. Every now and then I'll get the question of which jerseys do you like the best. I think the Reebok Authentics are my favorites. That being said, obviously I have a lot of Adidas and whatnot. The other thing I wanted to mention was yes, Edmonton at times dominates this series. At times, Edmonton is clearly the better team, but Edmonton is not winning when you look at this series right now. And it has to be concerning. It has to be concerning right now if you're an Oilers fan, and I'm sure it's concerning for the team. Despite their dominance through so many moments in this series, Korpisalo's been pretty darn good. And it was Skinner against Korpisalo for the third straight game. I would imagine it'll still be them for game 4 as well. It's not like Skinner's not playing well and doesn't deserve to be in net or anything, but at this point, Korpisalo's been fantastic. So Ekholm stealing pucks early. I thought Ekholm had mostly a good game. He does have that one penalty in the game. I think it was just the one. But at any rate, I thought he had a pretty decent game. Early power play for the Oilers. They were 2 for 4 in the series coming into this one. They were 2 for 4 tonight as well. That's the interesting thing. On the power play, the Oilers, they generate 5 on 5, not so much. McDavid has a net drive that's saved and held. The Kings clear. The Oilers set up late. Ekholm has a shot that's blocked as the kill comes to an end, 2 shots, so they do not score on their first power play. Dursey has a screenshot that's saved. There was a post for Byfield on a net drive. Shots are 2-0 Oilers at 5.5 minutes, so the Kings are not hitting the net at this point. The fans call one, the referee doesn't. Arvidsson was down on a hit at center ice. Now, Nurse is initially given a 5-minute penalty, and Arvidsson exited. He'd come back. Now, I understood why. From one angle, it looked like a knee-on-knee hit. Then when you look at it from another angle, it's not. It's the stick that catches Arvidsson and trips him. There's maybe a little bit of a leg to knee contact, but it's very little. It's the stick that causes him to fly through the air. So they review it to see if it's a 5-minute. They make it a 2, but they also give Arvidsson the 2 minutes for shooting a broken stick. And you can't do that either. So it becomes a 4-on-4. So the fans start the ref you suck chant because they do not like that call at all. McDavid has a net drive that's saved. The Kings clear to get a change. Power play for the Kings. Kempe has a blast that's blocked. Kopitar has a shot that deflects wide. The Oilers fail to clear, and then Draisaitl would on the next attempt. Arvidsson would return at this point. That power play is killed off. Kings press after it's done. Ryan then fires one wide. McLeod has a tip shot that was blocked. Things get scrummy after a whistle. The Kings go back to the power play. Early clear by Ceci. Then there's a crossbar for Doughty. And then there was a shorthanded rush by Desharnais. So that power play's killed off. No shots actually hit the net during that power play. Grundstrom's then denied on a rush. The next Grundstrom shot is held. The shots on net are only 3 apiece with 5.5 minutes left, but there's a lot going on in this game. Even when there aren't shots in it, it's not like it's boring. Kopitar fires one wide on a rush. Kane has a rush chance, and then there was a near miss for Hyman. Nugent Hopkins has a shot that's held, but in the final minute, and kind of against the flow of play at that stage, at 19:27, Iafallo buries a rebound. Roy and Kopitar with the assists. So it's 1-0 Kings after 1. It's a rocking crowd in LA tonight. Second period. Early press by the Oilers. Nurse is denied. The Kings clear. Kane steals one. Korpisalo holds on to an opportunity he had. Kulak has a wraparound that's saved. There's more pressure for the Oilers. In fact, 5 minutes in, the shots are 6-1 for Edmonton, but the score's still 1-0 for LA. Ryan can't bury one on a 2-on-1, but the Oilers, they go to the power play. Bouchard has a shot that's blocked and cleared. Kings clear again, but late in the power play, they set up and they score. It's McDavid. It's a one-timer during a cycle. Bouchard and Nugent Hopkins with the assists at 7:42. McLeod then had a fast break. That's defended by Dursey. Things get pushy on a hold by Korpisalo. The Oilers go back to the power play. Draisaitl has a chance that's blocked. The Kings clear. Doughty throws a hit on McDavid, which got the fans happy, but it seemed to fire up McDavid. He would score. Wires it. Great shot from Bouchard and Draisaitl. That's at 9:22. So the problem was, while they're celebrating, Draisaitl ends up going right to the box afterwards. So they've scored twice in less than 2 minutes. They've got a 2-1 lead. The lead does not last. 18 seconds after that goal went in, the Kings tie it. It's Kempe. It's a one-timer on a bounce off the boards. It was an intentional bounce off the boards to Kempe, and it worked. Arvidsson and Doughty with the assists at 9 minutes and 40 seconds. Then Kane, he ends up boarding Doughty. That draws a crowd. Both players go to the box for 2 minutes, and it was the right call. It was interference by Doughty, and it was a hook or a hold or whatever they ended up calling on Kane there. So Kane was not having it. He lost it on that call. I thought Kane was lucky he didn't get unsportsmanlike and put the Oilers on the penalty kill. I was kind of surprised they didn't give him the extra 2. He didn't want to go in the box. And he was, if you can read lips and you watched any of Evander Kane tonight, I would like to apologize. Basically, he was not happy at all. And it wasn't just here either. Almost any time they had a camera on Kane, I'm like, oh man, they're just going to have to blur out his face because at this point, every time you look at him, he is not a happy camper. He's a very intense individual, and when it's pointed in the right direction, he can be fantastic. But it did seem to knock him off his game a little bit here. So he took his time getting to the box. It took time for Doughty to get to the box too. He went to the bench and then they pull him off to go to the box. He argued his way to the box too. Kempe then fires one wide from the slot. Arvidsson can't bury on a 2-on-0. The next chance Arvidsson had was held. Ekholm has a shot that saved the Oilers' press. McDavid to Fogle gets defended by Roy. It doesn't get there. And then when they came back from a TV break, they showed that during the TV break, Kane and Doughty, who are now out of the box, were arguing with the ref. And so the referee's telling him, here's what I saw, here's why you went to the box, and here's why you went to the box. And I thought it was great that the referee, A, is explaining it rather than just telling him to go away, and B, that, they were listening. They were listening to the ref. And while they didn't agree with the referee, I don't think either of them agreed with the ref, at least there's an explanation there. So I do appreciate it when the officials have a really open line of communication with the players. There's a near miss for Draisaitl. Yamamoto fires one high from the slot. Hyman has a blast that's caught and held. Ekholm has a wraparound chance that's blocked. The Kings rush. Arvidsson then had a shot that was held, and the Oilers are pressed with a minute and a half left. So while they had a good finish to the period, it's 2-2. So it's 2-2 after the second period. We go to the third. Hyman has an early chance that's kicked aside. Moore has a turnover chance that's held. The shots are 3-1 for the Kings at 3 minutes. Kempe has a rush chance that's defended by Nurse. Kopitar to Kempe ends up getting picked off. The Oilers press at 4.5 minutes. We get a power play for Edmonton. And this obviously is a really key moment, right? There's an early clear by the Kings. McDavid goes beast mode. Korpisalo holds there. McDavid's then denied again. The Kings clear it out. So this is where Korpisalo earns his hero status. That one's killed off 3 shots, and I know 2 of those are by McDavid. Costin's denied on a 2-on-1, and then Ryan ends up firing one high. Kings get a power play. Arvidsson has a blast that deflects out on a dangerous power play. It was really good power play by the Kings here. The Oilers do kill it, and then they get some pressure of their own. Yamamoto gets denied. The Kings clear it out after that. Pressed by the Oilers with 7 minutes left. The shots are 10-7 Edmonton with 6 minutes left. Just Korpisalo doing Korpisalo things. Velarde has a blast that's held on a turnover. Draisaitl has a rush chance that's held. The Oilers press with 3.5 minutes left. The Oilers are controlling the game late. They really were. Grundstrom had a rush chance that deflects out. There were a couple of opportunities for the Kings in that final minute, but it felt like the Oilers had the momentum. But now we're going into overtime. And they had Will Ferrell with his face paint, just checkerboard face paint on, cheering the Kings on and getting all the crowd going to start off the overtime. I know he's at all their home games. Makes total sense during the playoffs. That would especially be true. Byfield has a shot that's blocked. I follow at a net drive that was defended. We get a power play for the Kings. There's a shorthanded chance for Bukestad. He fires wide, and then Kopitar would hit a post. So the posts were getting worked out tonight. Byfield's denied on a one-timer, and then Moore scores. So Moore scores, and there's big celebration, and it's reviewed for a missed stoppage. Now, I thought it hit his stick. I did. I thought it hit his stick. The NHL is saying there was not an angle that definitively proved it did hit his stick. When the call on the ice is a goal, it has to be something definitive to overturn it. So if this goal had been called back, if they had said, nope, we say it's not a good goal, so somebody somewhere said, actually, that shouldn't be a good goal, then I don't think it gets overturned either. But because they didn't have a definitive angle to prove one way or the other, the call on the ice stands. And so Moore gets the overtime winner on the power play from Velarde and Byfield at 3:24. I was glad to see Byfield get an assist here because I thought he had a good game. I thought Velarde had a much better game than the last one too. LA wins this one 3-2. I know they don't have the lead for very long in this series, but they've got a 2-1 series lead. So the 3 stars in this one are Kempe, Kopitar, and Moore. I would have probably given McDavid the 3rd star, but it's in LA, so maybe not. Shots on net he's not popular in LA at all. Shots on net are 7-5 LA in the first, 18-9 Edmonton in the second, 17-11 Edmonton in the third. But LA had all 4 shots in the overtime. Final shots 40-31 for the Oilers. Power plays, the Oilers 2 for 4. LA goes 2 for 5. Hits 47-40 for LA. Skinner 28 saves on 31 shots. Korpisalo 38 saves on 40 shots. So the lesson for the Oilers coming out of this game is simple. They need 5-on-5 goals, and they need their depth guys to start producing. It's a storyline we've seen with the Oilers before in the playoffs, and they have to win Game 4. They lose Game 4, they're putting themselves really behind it because then they'd have to win 3 in a row. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.